because we've seen a lot of week one results that have not proved to have anything to do with reality. The most famous of them all came in 2003. The Patriots in week one lost 31-0 to the Bills. You figure, well, they're awful. Well, the next thing they did was they won 17 of the next 18 games and won the Super Bowl. Let's go to the very famous 2011 Eagles. They were called the Dream Team. Remember what a disaster that turned out to be? They won big week one, 31-13. We thought, oh, they really are going to be that good. Then they lost 6 of their next 8 and became a cautionary tale in football history. And then if you want something more recent, let's jump to just last year. The New Orleans Saints scored 47 points in their opener. By the way, they scored 44 in week 2. And we thought, oh my goodness, what an offense this is. And then they lost 12 of their next 15 games and finished 24th in scoring offense. So those were false starts. So let me ask you, coming off of week 1, Jeff Saturday, some of the things we saw, were these real or were these things that we will forget about as we move forward? So the Lions looked awful. Their offense looked as though they missed Ben Johnson more than anyone has ever missed anyone. So my question to you is, was that real or was it a false start?
I think it's a false start. Listen, I think Dan Campbell, they averaged 2 yards a run. That is not a Dan Campbell physical mentality. They didn't play like that. I think Dan Campbell will go back to the drawing board. He'll make sure John Morton understands this is how our offense has to be productive. And so I think they get this thing right. So I think that was a false start. I think Detroit gets better.
They got steamrolled. Let's go to the Vikings next. We were so impressed, and we talked about it all yesterday morning. What J.J. McCarthy did in the fourth quarter, and the fourth quarter alone opened up a lot of eyes. But that's just one quarter so far. So the idea that he's now going to be their guy, is that a false start or is that something you think is real?
I don't think it's a false start. I think this is real. And again, he didn't play well in the first 3 quarters. Obviously had a hot fourth quarter. They end up winning the game. But you saw how everybody trusted in him, including his head coach, KOC. This guy's got the goods. He'll continue to get better throughout the season.
Then the last one, and I will avert my eyes. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns and no picks in his revenge game against the Jets.
Revenge!
All of a sudden people are saying, oh, that looked like the old MVP Rodgers. Is that real or is that a false start?
That is a false start. He got set. Corner's not going to be at 3 yards off in the middle and get run by. Like, we're not going to do some of those things. So the Jets helped a little bit by being overly aggressive, in my opinion. I don't think teams will give that. I think teams could put pressure on him unless their offensive line gets.
They keep hearing that, but no one knows Aaron Rodgers better than the Jets did. He had been there the last 2 years. Why would they have been playing directly into his hands?
Well, Aaron Glenn is an aggressive play caller on defense, and he's going to blitz you no matter what, right? That's his calling card. So he trusted what happened. They'll get better on the back end of that Jets defense as well.
Wait for me over here.
All right,
I feel like there is a hesitancy on the part of people to say what I think I saw the other day, which is Aaron Rodgers looked reborn. He looked like exactly what I was afraid he was going to be, which is all of a sudden he's on a competent team with competent coaching, and he looks like he can still play. And what am I missing?
No, I mean, I think that if you are looking for like around average quarterback play, I think you got that from Aaron Rodgers. I think the selling
average. He threw 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. Is that average?
You got to watch the touchdowns. Like there's nothing in those touchdowns that makes me think, oh, this is MVP Aaron Rodgers. I don't mean this as a slight, but I think that this is not a sustainable way for the Steelers to win. The reason why I and other people had faith in the Steelers is we thought that they would play great defense and ask Aaron Rodgers to make a couple plays here and there. He got hit entirely too much. And you saw he was a little panicky in the pocket once that started happening, which is fair. He was hitting the Jets in the face mask with footballs. Like, this game was not the MVP level Rodgers that I think that we are selling it as because he had 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Look, I think some of the things that we expected to happen in this game didn't. That was that the Steelers would play good, sound, fundamental defense, not be, giving up plus 20-yard explosives at the rate that they were. I think they'll get that corrected. I think we thought Pittsburgh would run the football a little bit better than they did. I think they'll get that corrected too, because that's what Arthur Smith is. The thing we didn't expect, that people are having a hard time grappling with, is the fact that the play action passing game, Arthur Smith's play calling, all were like on it. They were on it the entire game. And people were going, remember, people wanted to run Arthur Smith out of Pittsburgh. They didn't think he was a good offensive coordinator. No one wanted Pittsburgh to sign Aaron Rodgers. A lot of Pittsburgh fans didn't want Pittsburgh to sign Aaron Rodgers. But he delivered relative to what they had to offer yesterday. So look, I think it is sustainable. You can't get him hit the way they got him hit. You better average more than 3 yards a carry, and the defense better not give up explosives like that. But I think Aaron's here to stay as far as his performance.
I think this can go one of two ways this season. You've got the 2021 Rams where it was like, let's get Odell, let's get Von Miller, let's bring in Stafford, and they go away and they're just on the rise. Or it could be the 2004 Lakers with Steve Nash and Dwight Howard, and you're like, we put all the pieces together on paper, we're good, right? And then it's like, this team, Jalen Ramsey played great.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf played great. Jonnu Smith showed up. All of the new acquisitions, in addition to Rodgers, all played great. It's 1 week. It's a 17-week season. None of these guys are exactly young and fresh legs.
Born again is a bit much.
Well, I mean,
I'd just say.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that was a performance that we did not see in either of the last. Well, he didn't really only had one season with the Jets. At no point did it look like that last year. It didn't really look like that his final year. I mean, the numbers are what the numbers are. He completed 73% of his passes for 4 touchdowns and no picks. You've got the Jets this week, right, against the Bills. Have you had a chance to hear from them yet on what they thought of what Rodgers did?
Let me tell you right now, Aaron Glenn does not want to talk about Rodgers anymore. He's over that. No, I think, with Aaron Rodgers, I think he got a tickle out of playing the way he did. I think the question of whether it's sustainable, you said, yes, it's sustainable, as long as he doesn't get hit that much, as long as the defense does all those things, as long as And so the question is how they played. It was not sustainable. They have to be better.
I think that's the point I was trying to make also. Is like, I think this team can be good, but they're not going to continue to win if the games look like that particular one.
Yeah.
Perhaps not. All I'll say is, you watch the Steelers play, since Ben Roethlisberger was at his peak, the offense has never looked like that. Not once.
Let's just put it this way. Aaron Rodgers isn't washed up and done.
No.
He has plenty left.
Yes.
That's obvious.
All right, next up is Baltimore, where the Ravens now need to bounce back from a 15-point blown lead in the fourth quarter against Buffalo. In their final 3 possessions on offense, they went punt, fumble, punt. Josh Allen capitalized 3 consecutive scoring drives. And while not all losses fall on the quarterback, it is worth noting that since 2019, Lamar Jackson has 5 losses, went up double digits in the fourth quarter. That's the most of anybody. For context, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen have 1 loss combined, went up double digits in the fourth quarter. I want to talk about the psyche. Lewis, you sat here at this desk last week and you said, if the Ravens lose this game after losing to Buffalo to win their season, you think it's going to be tough for them to take mentally?
Yeah, no question. Look, Kimberly, I think she termed it as going back to the scene of the crime and having it repeat itself in the same way. It repeated itself in an even more devastating way. Because they thought, we were all sitting there watching the game like, man, this is over. They are running Buffalo right out of the stadium.
In the press box.
And next thing you know, when it starts getting tight and Josh starts making some plays, you can just sit there and go, you can see the guys' faces on the sideline going, hey man, we about to blow this thing? And they can't seem to get themselves out of that kind of funk and stop it. And it's not just the offense. Forget Derrick Henry's fumble and, whether Lamar, he said at one point when they didn't go for it on 4th down, he was cramping. And if he hadn't been, they would have went for it on that 4th and 3. The defense late in that game. I mean, there's going to be questions around Zach Orr again now, at the beginning of the season again. Is he able to make sure that this defense can shut people down when they need to?
I'm glad you brought up the defense because we spoke on Countdown, and I spent the week talking to players, defensive players, one in particular, Roquan Smith, and he talked about how everybody talks about, to a man, revenge. We're going up there, Roquan Smith, we're going up there to start getting what we rightfully deserve this season, and it begins in Buffalo. This is a team that thought we should have been in the Super Bowl. If we don't beat ourselves, there's nobody who can beat us. And then they go in there, and he even talked about Josh. Make him throw. He's liable to make a mistake. And hearing it, I was like, is he though? Is he liable? So the letdown of that defense for the psyche, the mentality that they came into the building with, to have it disintegrate.
Their psyche, and I kind of brushed it off. Like, whatever, they'll be fine. They lost first game last year. They'll bounce back. I didn't anticipate it going down the way that it did. Like anybody, your psyche will be impacted by having a 90% or 99% win percentile and losing in the fashion that they did. And Josh Allen, you're right. Like anytime you can avoid having him with the ball in his hand with a chance to win, you got to do it. You got to figure out a way.
We're like the Giants front office up here. Everybody's in full panic, bro. This roster is the best in the NFL. Be real. Like when we all look at this thing, this is a great team.
Right.
Great team. They did not play well. They didn't finish. This team will be in the hunt come February. Make no mistake. I don't care about psyche. I don't care about. It was they all walk back and go, man, we blew it. We screwed up. Derrick Henry goes, I got a hole in the ball. The backside right tackle who got beat inside go, that ain't going to happen again. Lamar goes, I ain't going to cramp. I'll take salt pills, whatever it is. But man, this ain't good football
but you know
team,
what?
y'all.
At the end of last year, what did they say too? I'll hold on to the ball when I scramble around. I won't stop. Mark Andrews said, I'm going to catch that thing next time.
Right. I get that.
Final word.
It's the way in which they lose. That's the storyline. It's the same repetitive thing. They'll be fine, but
They lost this next game last year, too. Remember, they lost a heartbreaker to Kansas City week 1. Then they came home, they had a double-digit lead and lost to the Raiders.
Yes.
Now they get Cleveland this week. Let's see if it looks anything like that.
It's the NFL on EA Sports, and we're about to get a rematch of Super Bowl 58. It's the Niners and the Chiefs coming up next.
We welcome you to the Heartland, 7 miles from downtown Kansas City, GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium for more than a half-century, the home of the Kansas City Chiefs. Good to be in the booth with Greg Olson. I'm Mike Tirico. Greg, this is a passing league. You know that from your days. It's evolved even more into a game in the air. And boy, do we have a couple of quarterbacks who know all about moving their team via the pass.
Yeah, I think we're going to see this ball thrown early and often throughout the game. And anyone who loves offensive football, this is certainly a treat. And you said it, Mike. This league has turned more and more with each passing season into a passing league. If you can't throw, if you can't generate points through the air and explosive plays, it is going to be very difficult to compete and win week in and week out in today's modern NFL.
The Chiefs come out with the face of the NFL, Patrick Mahomes, 2-time regular season MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, just in his 8th year, best in the business at the helm for KC. Greg?
Mike, we could do an entire broadcast of what makes his game so special and so unique. Not only the wins, the losses, the arm talent, the fun throws, but it's his level of competitive nature. It's his ability that his team is never out. It doesn't matter what's going on at the offensive line, what's going on the defensive side of the ball. You know that as long as he's lined up under center, as long as he is in your huddle, you have a chance for greatness every single week. And the reality is, not every team can say that. And really the key to this play was just how fast he was able to get through his progressions. His mind was able to process and go from 1 to 2 to 3 so quickly that he was able to get the ball to the right target on time. And I think so often those two things are different. Being open is one thing. Being open and getting the ball on time, that's what leads to success. And that's what we saw here.
And they bring him down, but not until they get inside the 30-yard line. It's a pickup of 13 yards. Good for a Chiefs first down. Throwing from the gun. Here's Patrick. He's got it at the 7. And he will get into the end zone. Hollywood Brown. Touchdown Chiefs. And that is the way to start a game. Not just score, but Greg, score quickly. A nice opening drive for the first 6 points.
Well, it seems like the hour spent on that opening game script was time well spent. I mean, to take the ball right down the field that quickly, right out of the gates, that's a pretty good opening drive and an early 6 points.
The extra point by Butker is good. And the Chiefs will take a 7-0 lead. So now it's Butker following the touchdown to send this one away. Deebo Samuel going to get a chance to return it. And this will work out quite well. He'll get it all the way out to the 30-yard line. Here come the 49ers, and they are led by Brock Purdy. You know the story, taken last in the 2022 draft. The last 2 seasons, he has led the Niners deep in the playoffs, and it's his 3rd season, Greg, as the QB for San Francisco.
Mr. Irrelevant. Well, I think it's safe to say, Mike, he has been anything but irrelevant since arriving in the NFL, and he is living proof. It doesn't matter if you're drafted first overall, or in his case, with the very last pick. What does matter is what you do with the opportunity once it's given to you. Nothing real flashy about his game. He simply gets the job done, and that's exactly what his team is counting on him today over these next 60 minutes.
He'll be stacked up at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Third and 5. Throwing from the gun is Purdy. That's over the middle and taken in. He's got it. And they will bring him down on the other side of midfield. Able to get loose after the catch for more yardage. That'll be a pickup of 21.
They've done a nice job spreading the ball around. Make the defense have to account for as many different weapons as possible here early. Think back to our conversation with this coaching staff, Mike. They identified this guy as someone they needed to get involved early and often, so that might be his first target. I don't think it's going to be his last.
Play fake to McCaffrey. Now